All right, everyone, come on in. Make yourself comfortable. Slide that big comfy chair underneath your little tushy and grab your drink and snack. I'll give you a couple of seconds to prepare for one of the most obscure toys you will ever see. Now, before I get into it, as always, take a second to subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. So now with that out of the way, if you have your nice beverage, a nice warm coffee or a cocoa, and a little snack in hand, and you're ready to kick back, I'm going to talk to you about Uchuujin Pipi, or Spaceman Pipi as he's known. A toy that probably nobody even knows exists, a character that no one knows exists. Now, the synopsis of the story is that the spaceman came down an alien. He's an alien. Came down to Earth and befriended a boy, and he uses his wisdom and technology to get out of certain situations. Now, what makes this short-lived, obscure series kind of cool is that it was a mixture of live action and animated. So sort of like Roger Rabbit, precursor to Roger Rabbit. I think they had live action even back in the Looney Tunes days. They integrated it in a rare occasion, so it wasn't unprecedented, but to this scale, it was unheard of. Now, before I even look at the toy, rather than me continuing to explain the obscurity, let's mosey on over here, okay? And what we're gonna do is look at the actual intro to this. I'll try to set this up. It's kind of like we're in school, and they used to show you the movies when they were lazy. Remember that? I mean, I went to Catholic school, so we didn't see that many movies, but on occasion we did. We actually saw the World Series in '76. They stopped classes to show us the Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds. That was in New York, so they were very interested. And the Yankees hadn't been in a World Series in over 10 years, so it was a big deal. But anyway, let's see Pipi's. Let me zoom in a little more, too. I don't want to lose the bottom, so let's try to get this. I should have worked at a theater as a crappy projectionist. Anyway, I'll put my little JBL Bluetooth there, and let's hit start here. Oh my, was that classic or what? Let's get back to the toy now and readjust our zoom. I was going to splice it in, and I said, let me just do it all in one shot. This way I don't have to go in and edit it. And oh, wow. Something was auto-playing there with the computer closed. Anyway, so now you got to see the rare introduction of Spaceman Pipi, something that very few of you have probably ever seen. It's a shame they didn't translate that like the way they did Gigantor and Speed Racer and other anime. But anyway, so what drew me to this toy, because it's plastic, almost completely plastic, was the box initially. So we'll start off with this. Look at these beautiful graphics here. You got, now, if you notice the TV show intro, they had a flying saucer. And this box, though, depicts a nice space scene with a rocket, the planet, little jet trail, contrail. Got your little starry exhaust. Nice fin to car. The other thing, it reminds me, my kids were big Pikmin fans. when Pikmin first came out, especially Pikmin 2. So this guy reminds me of Olimar. And by the way, this is a friction toy. And they actually highlighted the fact that it's a plastic toy and the maker is TKK. And it's also embossed. I'll show you on the bottom. So here's a couple more depictions of Pipi. Gotta love that, right? He looks like the sleeping dwarf. I mean, other than the pointy head, he really reminds me of Olimar a lot, especially the nose. So here's your end panel. He's waving away. Very cool. Very charming, charming box. Now the bottom, the actual bottom, like, has some cracks, like over here. And you know, when I unwrap, that's why I hate to unwrap stuff, to be quite honest with you. I unwrapped it and little flakes of cardboard are going places. I'm like, oh my God, this is just a mess. And then you got to clean it up. So anyway, I had posted this toy on alphadrome actually a while back. And if you haven't checked out alphadrome yet, I encourage you to do so. alphadrome Robot Talk. That's where to go to see all this stuff. I have a great database there too, by the way, of all kinds of toys. Trying to get this a little bit better position. That's good enough. Anyway, so the car itself, it's pretty big. Look at this. Like, man, this is like maybe 14 to 16 inches. Here's the bottom, by the way. I want to show you this first because this is where I'm not going to go crazy to help, you know, because it won't show up on camera. But this is the TKK logo, made in Japan, and it says plastic toy on there. And that's pretty visible. And here's your friction drive. See, they bolted it in on the bottom here. And definitely loud. And look, it's got these plastic rivets, man. It's one of those toys you're kind of afraid to handle. You know, when I showed you guys the Astro Boy van, and I was wondering what that powder was, I kind of figured it out, by the way, if you, in case you haven't. But whatever paint they used, then I'm assuming these were chrome at some time. As it flakes off, it must have just like kind of powderized, and that's what really, all the trim work, the bright trim had deteriorated, and that's what made that powder. So I'm assuming at some point these would have had a lot of that silvery paint, but for now they don't. Anyway, there's this cool sticker on there, like the checkered flag, and he's flying away. And then you got his little vinyl. This is such kind of like a brittle plastic, but he feels rubbery. Let's see if I can. I love this guy. He really does look, reminds me. If he's not Olimar, he's like Olimar's brother. And then you got the big fin, which is kind of reminiscent of the 50s and 60s race cars, like the Ferraris, even some of the Corvettes when they made those purpose-built race cars out of their sports cars. You know, they would do a one-seater with the kind of like this pontoon wind deflector. The back is nothing special. So usually, like I said, for a plastic, I wouldn't even be that interested, but this just has a really cool style. As a vehicle, it has a nice style. Okay, it lacks some detail, right? Like they could have even put stickers for the headlights. It does have the number 8. It's the infinity sign. So I said, you know what? It's just too cool to pass up. And then you can roll him along. Wow, is that loud? That is loud. He needs a little gear and gear oil. And that's pretty much it. You know, I got to tell you, when it comes to these plastic toys, not that you wouldn't damage anything that you dropped. Obviously, you dropped tin, you dent it. But for some reason, this feels so much more fragile to me. And I guess that's part of the appeal, too, that, like, a solid plastic toy like this survived unscathed. And I'll just try to get one more close-up of him in the cockpit. See, he's got a steering wheel there. Look at his ears, too. His earmuffs. Got a nice detail on him. I really like this character. You know, I'll have to find some of those episodes if you can locate him. You know, it would be kind of cool to watch the series and just see what his wacky adventures were like. But anyway, that's really it. That's your friction plastic powered. Well, no, friction powered plastic Pipi space car, I guess. Would you call this a space car? Seems like he's in space there. And you know, there was one other plastic toy that I saw, and it was a saucer, which was kind of cool because he, you know, the show depicted him in a saucer, but The box of the saucer looked really, non-spacey. It was just like it almost looked like a pre-war box. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But now you know that there's somebody called Uchuujin or Spaceman Pipi from Japan in the '60s, and they were part of the early live-action / animated effects that became a lot more popular as time wore on. So let me know what you think of this guy. And if you have kids of your own, or maybe you're a young kid yourself, and does he remind you of Olimar? Is he kind of like the precursor to the Pikmin saga? Who knows? But anyway, thanks as always for joining me. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to thumb up the video if you liked it, and leave a remark if you feel like it. And with that, thanks again. I appreciate your time, and I will talk to you later. Hey everyone, I'm sorry. I decided to add an addendum to the Spaceman Pipi or Uchuujin Pipi anime toy that I just described because this article, which I will link to, so I'm not going to go over the entire article. And as you can see here, it was posted 10 years ago. But anyway, unfortunately, this is what is the sad reality. Of the 52 25-minute episodes, only 2 survive. And it is almost unknown outside of Japan, except by a few anime historians. So, again, I'm going to link this in the description. And it is very sad that we lost something that was really an iconic forerunner that turned into things like Roger Rabbit. And look, I hope that YouTube saves a lot of these types of channels' content because, the problem was also, what happens if all these videos, not just my channel, but people that are putting like these cool, amazing toys on there and different things of like lost anime and other lost art, what happens if they disappear? So anyway, I'm going to try to find the missing 2 episodes, and I will link this in the description. And just to let you know that, you know what, if you're outside of the U.S., maybe you'll be lucky. Maybe you'll find the other missing 50 episodes. And to wrap it up, when I was growing up, I didn't work. I lived in the town where Terry Toons was headquartered. Terry Toons made Mighty Mouse. And I can tell you that when they were closing shop, going out of business, they tried to sell a lot of stuff, and Terry Toons would actually sell artwork at the movies because some of the Terry Toons shorts would show before the movies. They were like the prequel, not the prequels. I forgot what you call those little opening cartoons they used to have. And anyway, at the end of the day, a lot of their stuff ended up in dumpsters, and nobody wanted it. Of course, that wouldn't be the case today, but that's probably what happened in something like this. But let's hope that somebody will uncover the missing episodes of a Spaceman Pipi because he influenced a lot. Anyway, thank you again, my friends. With that, I'll talk to you later.